Have you considered if we run out of things to say?
Have we ever run out of things to say?
No, we filled a decade full of conversation, so I think we're good.
It's been more than a decade.
It has. You're right.
It has been more than
but
a decade.
I was just like, I don't fucking know what to say for the intro.
I mean, here's the thing. The intro is literally, hey, I'm your resident rogue, Oreo.
And I'm your druid, Shao. Welcome to the party.
That was it.
Okay.
That's the whole thing, my dude.
I forgot.
Once again, we are back in it. Can't believe we're still doing this.
I sure can. Rude.
Yeah, very early in this, and I'm like, wow, we made it.
It's been less than a month. I can't believe we're still here.
I'm proud of us. Just joining us.
Welcome!
Yeah. What's up? We're a mess.
Please listen to this episode in full and then go back to our long history of a month of podcasting.
Our explanation for what you just dropped into.
Yes.
If you don't want to do that, however, this podcast is my embarrassing backlog of Dungeons and Dragons characters.
Impressive is a different way to put it.
Being sent out into the universe for your enjoyment and use.
Yes, please do. And I'm here to draw them.
Yep, that's the whole thing.
That part keeps you cracking up, so I'm going to just keep saying it like that.
It's always funny because this is before we explain that there's a place to see them. So it's just like, and I'm here to draw them on this audio format podcast.
Yes, we're going to draw with our mind's eye. I'm going to guide you through this. This is actually a meditation podcast.
Everybody close your eyes and get ready to picture this fully developed Dungeons and Dragons
Clear your thoughts. 3 in, hold, 3 out, hold.
But if you didn't come here for that, you can also go to our Instagram where the physical drawing is actually
if you don't want to do the work, I suppose you could go check out our Instagram and YouTube.
If you're not a fan of theater of the mind on a podcast where we talk about tabletop RPGs, which are usually theater of the mind.
I'm more confused why you're here, but you're still quite welcome.
I would just like to forewarn you, these characters are built for theater of the mind games, which means you might not get a lot of utilization out of them. Okay, first of all, she's a damn liar. A few steps behind her making character addiction, of course, her dice addiction, but beyond, after that, she does also have a tabletop RPG miniature addiction, so don't get it twisted. Okay, first of all, it is not an addiction. I don't have that many of my personal characters.
Oh, okay.
My husband.
I will concede Barbarian Zav and Hubby DM have a larger addiction, but
I do have a few.
You still have a good number.
Here's why though. Once we actually have campaigns for these characters, I do very much like to have a physical version, just like a physical mini representation of my actual character.
Okay.
I'm not as bad as Spidey, aka Hubby DM, because he just buys minis because he's a DM.
Yeah.
So he buys like monsters, he buys tables and chests.
Yes.
And accoutrements for the scene.
That's for our French listeners. I'm sorry we butchered your language.
I do truly apologize for how terribly I said that word. Your language is beautiful. My pronunciation was not.
We're also honest with ourselves here.
I know it needs work. I promise I will do better.
Really?
Maybe. I hope I'll
You promise to try.
I promise I will do my damnedest.
Yes. But you do have a few, and so you do concede you have a dice addiction?
Oh, no, that was never in question.
Okay.
That is absolutely a thing.
Okay.
All right. And we're on the same page again. And I'm not addicted to anything D&D related.
Oh, so now we're lying again. Okay.
Yes. Why are we here today?
We're here with another character.
Yes.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
This one should be fun. This one
Okay.
is a subversion of trope character.
Okay.
One of my favorite kinds of characters.
One of my favorite things to do with a trope.
Oh, yes.
Subverting it.
I do love a good subversion of trope.
Okay.
I'm not going to say trope is bad.
I'm going to ask this for the listeners that don't know. I personally know exactly what you're talking about. But tell me what subverting a trope is.
Okay, so everybody knows what a trope is in this room, I assume.
Yes, I told you we're not lying now.
Okay, so obviously a trope is what it is because it's something that's consistently done.
Mm-hmm.
Tropes can become cliche, which is how usually you assume if you hear a trope exists, it is also cliche.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of the earlier episodes we did say
Horny Bard.
Mm-hmm. We also said elf with bow.
Yes, elf with bow.
These are tropes, right?
Yes.
So these are things you normally see. A subversion of trope is elf with bow, but also daggers and does not use bow. Like, is capable of using bow, solidly fights more with daggers.
Okay.
That would be subvert. Like, you see the elf, you see the bow in their back, and you're like, okay, I know what I'm getting into. Or even better, it's a ranger, it's an elf, you see a bow, you're like, I know exactly.
Oh, so you're giving valid reasons for why they are in this category anyway.
It's more like you're creating an expectation and then swerving it.
Okay.
So like
we love a hard left.
Yeah, like so, like I said, it's an elf, it's a ranger, it's got a bow, and you're like, oh, okay, I know exactly who your character is. And then all of a sudden they pull out like a long sword, and you never see them touch their bow.
I thought you were gonna say a gun.
Yes, it turns out they're actually multi-classing into gunslinger or fighter, and they use a gun primarily, not the bow. And they don't do a lot of the ranger stuff, and you're kind of like, why do you even have ranger? But it's really just there to mess with you. Okay, no, but you do, when subverting a trope, you actually want the parts of it that exist to have a reason. Yeah. So, like, elf is a ranger, has a bow, actually also has a longsword on their side, uses the longsword primarily, has the bow only for situations in which they can't get in close.
I see.
And obviously, because as an elf you have proficiency in a bow, why wouldn't you have learned at some point in your backstory to use the bow? So you carry it for necessity and for practical purposes, but that's not your weapon of choice. And as a ranger, they're not just like walking around with like a fox and like doing like I do my own thing, I'm a lone wolf. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a really weirdly friendly person. Also, this elf grew up in a city of elves. And this is nothing I expected from an elf ranger with a bow. Like, you know what I mean? That would be like, oh, from appearance, I saw this character. I think I know what this character is. And then this character is nothing like you're expecting based on what little tidbits you were given.
Yes, I clearly followed you because in the beginning, I did understand what subverting a trope is. But thank you for our listeners.
Well, that was never in question. Of
Clearly.
You understood.
Thank you. So what kind of trope are we subverting today?
Alright, so the character I have for you today is Thalai. Kalagiano.
Ooh.
Nicknamed Timid.
Is this from like Fantasy Italy?
No, this is a Goliath.
Okay. Goliath's gonna come into town.
I mean, they can, but my thought process wasn't choose Italian Goliath. It's just a common Goliath surname that's offered up.
Okay.
Base
D&D
or Player's Handbook, you know. Because sometimes I have a very clear character name in mind, and sometimes I just look for the offerings that they have, and if I like something, I'll pick it. If not, I'll start searching elsewhere to find something.
Both is good.
Yeah. Nicknamed Timid, because as a culture, Goliaths do usually get nicknames based on their personalities or the feats that they achieve. So Timid is a very telling nickname for Thalai.
Maybe I was a Goliath in a past life because I did too.
It's actually true. A lot of your characters do tend to do nicknames.
Yes.
Like, they are very fond
That's
of
what I do
nicknames.
in my actual life. This is why we call you Oreo.
We don't have a friend in existence who has not at least at one point had a nickname.
We literally have a friend, Dylan, and I call him Dylan because he spells it with an A, but now it's with an E because I cannot physically call you by your government name. It feels wrong. I get your name wrong because I love you.
I do it on purpose for love. But so, and obviously because of Goliath culture, Timid is not a good nickname.
Yeah.
It's not the guy.
This
Goliaths
is very
very
utilitarian. Yeah.
They're very survival of the fittest. As I was creating this character, I was actually reading up a lot more on Goliath culture, and so they even have like a group of people who make the decision about people who aren't doing enough to provide for the clan.
Yeah.
To essentially pull their own weight, and those people are voted to leave. Like if you get too old, if you get too old, you are voted out.
Yeah.
Like runts who are very just born very, very weak and can't contribute are voted out. Like you can be voted out for many reasons, but the main thing is always you are not contributing to the survival of the clan as a whole.
Right.
You either are no longer useful or you never were useful.
Damn.
Yes, it is very cutthroat, but because Goliaths usually live in the mountains where they're constantly fighting and foraging and they have to do a lot to survive.
Just to survive.
They have to be very survival of the fittest as a culture, usually. Obviously, when you're creating a world, you can create any kind of Goliath culture you want.
Honestly.
But I liked the idea of a character who inherently did not fit into this world that they were born into. Which I do a lot with my characters. But this one specifically had nothing to do with like the circumstance of their birth or something that happens later on that causes them to not fit in as much anymore. This was just purely personality-wise, she's not cut out for a survival of the fittest culture.
Lifestyle.
Which is fascinating when you like kind of plays with that whole nurture versus nature. Like inherently, if you're being taught this is the way the world works, this is the way our clan runs, like you should figure it out. Like because you're being taught that from birth, just who she is,
it just did not go.
It does not go. So she's timid. Like she's nicknamed Timid.
Yeah.
I do have as a Goliath, you are usually born with like markings or like nodes or something like that. So she is marked.
Okay.
Which is a great way to jump into physical description.
Yeah.
Which is, she is, as I said, a Goliath. Oh, I should also tell you, class is a fighter, because that's what she was
We love
taught.
a fighter. So solid.
Subclass will be Echo Knight.
You're going to have to tell me about that.
Yes. So an
I haven't
Echo
done
Knight
a lot of reading on that.
Was created by usual DM of Critical Role, Matt Mercer, in his world, Exandria. It became official D&D material. And basically an Echo Knight is...
Can I explain why I'm cracking up, please?
Yeah.
I don't want them to think I'm laughing at Matt Mercer. But before we started recording, Oreo called him Matthew Mercer, and it really just fucked me up, okay?
I was trying to be as, professional. Listen, I understand what I did wrong.
It immediately gave me the vibe of oh my god, what did he do? He seems like he's in trouble. Why are you calling him by his full ass name?
I do understand what I did wrong, and I do apologize.
We're sorry, Matthew. Oh god, it feels so wrong.
You are sorry, Matt. You are not in trouble. You're never going to hear this anyway, I'm sure.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go on. It was introduced by Matt.
So he created an entire world which literally became actual Dungeons and Dragons, official material, which is cool as hell.
Hashtag goals. I'm so upset I hashtag. Please cut that. Okay. Goals. And that's the one we keep.
But his world, Exandria, became official material, so a lot of the things he created, like subclasses and stuff, also got added in.
Right.
Echo Knight is one of those subclasses, and it basically is a fighter-based class, and then as part of that, you essentially get, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, but essentially, almost time echoes of yourself. So they're they're like shadows of yourself, that also can do things on your behalf. So you can essentially have your shadow stand somewhere and then as an attack, they can attack somebody while you're still far away.
Right.
You obviously have like rules, like they have to be within this far of you, all that kind of stuff. But essentially, it's like creating a shadow version of yourself to kind of help yourself stay out of danger or attack when you're not in an advantageous place and you can't move. So it's also great for like fight mechanics. If like you create an Echo Knight that just like causes a flank for you, stuff like that. Like, you can do a lot of really cool stuff with it within reason. Because I do think he was very good about building a balanced character because he also DMs, so he understands the necessity for a character to not just be cool, but balanced enough that they're not breaking the game and making any fight you give them useless. Which is a pointless waste of time. You know what I mean? So she's going to be an Echo Knight. Obviously, at this point, she's just level 1, so we haven't gotten to subclass yet. But the goal is for an Echo Knight. Okay. She's also young because this is kind of another trying to find where you belong situation of a character. In that, like, she was raised up until like around 18, especially because Goliaths do not.
So it's like full on just became an adult.
Yes, and because of who her parents are, because she is the only daughter and runt of the clan chief currently, and then the head of the hunters. So her dad is like nicknamed Fearless. Her mom is Bear Killer.
Oh my!
Yes, like her family is incredibly strong, and her 2 brothers, like one of her brothers married into a different clan.
Absolute units.
Yeah, like one of her older brothers married into a different clan to create like some like peace connection between another clan. So he doesn't have the same last name anymore because all Goliaths essentially their last name is actually clan name.
Okay.
So they all share the same last name. If you go to a different clan, your last name becomes something else. So her brother doesn't have the same last name, but he is called Hawkeye.
Right.
So like he's like sharpshooter,
so
like,
Jeremy Renner.
And then her second older brother is True Strike.
Okay.
So she's in a family, just like an absolute pinnacle family. And then there's Thalai, who is the runt, but still like I say runt, but she's 7'2" because she's a Goliath, and she's like 300 pounds, which is
comparatively
small-ish for a Goliath, but still quite muscular.
She already has a place in my heart.
Yeah,
because Lit, my druid, is a runt also. But just off the bat, I do want to say I'm getting like kind of Even Stevens vibes just from the family dynamic. You remember that? I know you do.
I do. I never fully watched it, but I do know
it's the whole premise, though.
Yeah, I do know exactly what you're talking about. But like, so her family is just like pinnacle.
Yes.
Like exactly what you would want in a Goliath. Culturally strong leaders, terrifying, very helpful to communities. Literally creating peace dynamics between other clans. And then Thalai was born, and she was tiny, like I said, 7'2", not actually really small, 300 pounds, which could, like, at 7'2", 300 pounds is not nearly as big as you would expect. So kind of on the slightly lankier side, but because she's a Goliath, they are stronger built, so she is still muscular. She's like a lean muscle for a Goliath.
Right.
And she does have face markings, which also, so there's like essentially like a nursemaid, a clan nursemaid who like helps delivers the babies and like reads their markings and all that. And she has markings that mark her as quote unquote timid.
Dang.
Which her parents...
Right at birth?
The markings are supposed to be read and like they're usually like, oh, this is like what you need to do, or like they're almost like a prophecy for your life. So, like, people will have, like, oh, you'll have to, like, you will go out and do something great for the clan, or you're going to be this type of person, like, this kind of thing. They're not always, like, true, but obviously, like, especially if her parents are being told these markings mean you might have an issue with your child being timid, their immediate reaction is we must prevent that from being the thing that happens. And so, her parents essentially, like, end up fighting kind of harder against that. But her markings, in my mind, were a lot of soft, because you can have like very geometric, very matching markings. For her, I imagine almost like a raccoon mask, like she's trying to be hidden, not seen, which makes sense for the timid personality. And then these almost symmetrical kind of soft lines. Just all soft lines instead of like more geometric hard patterns. Just like softer like swirls and curves. Nothing very specific in my mind for that, but like the biggest thing is this sort of almost mask marking.
Right.
That creates that sort of idea of this one doesn't want to be seen. This one doesn't want to be like out and boisterous and like she's a hider, aka timid.
Right.
Which could have been a good thing. They tried to play into like, oh well, okay, if the markings say she's like a hider, then maybe she should just be like a sharpshooter. Or like, you know, like a spy.
Like her brother.
A lookout.
Yeah.
You know? Like she can do that. But no, she's timid. She's straight up she's timid.
So she was right. The reader person was right.
Was right. She timid. But then the other thing is obviously like very common for Goliath. She does have gray skin, and then she also has gray blue eyes.
Okay.
And her hair is black, and she wears it like braided, almost into like a braided mohawk, essentially.
Okay.
So it's like out of the way, not super long, probably like shoulder length. And like I said, like not as big as you would expect, especially because of, you know, what you would want from that. You want your runt to like not stay a runt.
Yeah.
She's still kind of small for Goliath.
So comparatively, like how tall are her brothers?
Oh, they're like top of Goliath. I don't remember the exact top. I think Goliaths get almost like 8 feet towards that area, like 7 something. So they are very tall. Like they're solidly in that giant space. Same thing for her. Like, but her dad's not actually super tall. He's very bulky though. Like just very muscular. Like
Maui,
Terry Crews. Like a
thick
man. Yeah,
a thick man.
And her mom is honestly the same way. Just think like female bodybuilder body, like giant. Very strong. Like bear killer was because she, with her bare hands, killed a bear. Like she is.
It's a double entendre.
Yes.
Sorry, French people.
So strong. That is why she's the head of the hunters. Because the thing about it is, for Goliath, you earn your place.
Yeah.
Or you don't earn a place at all.
Yes.
So her parents have earned status of chief, head of hunters, the sharpshooter, all of these things. And they essentially, because they were scared and they knew the possibility could come that the council could decide she was not strong enough to stay with the clan, they tried her everywhere. They tried to do everything. You're just going to be like just a lookout. They sent her to like the training and stuff like that. Like she got to the point where it was like she was like cowering from like instead of really trying to fight, she was just like blocking punches and like stick sword play or however you want to picture that. But like she was not working is the thing. So with all of that in mind, stats wise, of course that means like because of being born a Goliath, this is a part of that like trope, like as a character she looks more intimidating than she is.
Yeah.
So like her con is the highest.
That makes sense.
Her strength is the second highest for me, and then after that is wisdom. Obviously you can finesse strength or wisdom.
Yeah.
But like she's softer, kind of more of like a thinker, not really a fighter. But she's a Goliath still, so she is built strong and sturdy.
Comparatively, she
is strong.
She's a strong one.
Yeah. So I love the idea of like also putting her stats into places that also as a character, when you're thinking about how this character plays, doesn't also make very much like it. It will be helpful, obviously, for her being a fighter and an Echo Knight, but it doesn't super make sense in general based on who she is. She just was born sturdy.
Right.
So she is strong. She does have a great con. She has a pretty good wisdom, which plays a lot more into how you play the character than her actual, like, what she was born.
Yeah.
But all the things you would expect from, like, oh, she's quiet, she's timid, she doesn't like fighting, all of that is actually the dumb stats. So intelligence, dex, because she's kind of clumsy and awkward, and then charisma is the absolute last. It's full dumb stat because she is very awkward and uncomfortable with people. Like, she doesn't know how to do people. Like, she just doesn't. So, she is so her charisma, I think I had it like 10.
Okay. I mean, that's average,
That's average, but like for her, that's like a full dumb. Like, her charisma is the full dump stack.
Feel free to give her a negative charisma.
Yeah, absolutely feel free to give her a negative. I kind of imagine, and I think if I played her, it would be average, but because a lot of people do like putting more in charisma, she would still solidly be the least charismatic person in the group. And I think average works nice because it's not that she's not nice and kind and the type of person you would enjoy being around. It's just because she's uncomfortable and awkward and scared. So, and that's why charisma is the dump stack. And then obviously, as I said, con was my highest because even though she is strong, she wouldn't be physically really working to keep and improve that strength.
It's like her natural.
It's just naturally.
Innate.
Yeah, she's stronger. And then, like I said, she's very clumsy and awkward, so Dex is lower. Which also sucks for somebody who's kind of scared because that means she gets hit easier. Like, she's able to take it, but it's not fun for her. It
that makes
plays
sense.
right into her ears. And then even funnier than that is, like, you would expect that, like, oh, favored weapon would obviously be something ranged, but she was trained with a glaive and a longsword. So she can get some distance with a glaive.
Yeah. But she's still got to be up in there, though.
Not as much as she wants. And then the longsword, because, like, that also makes sense. Like, if you're not really a sharpshooter and you don't have the dex to do a bow or a crossbow, like, obviously we gotta give you the glaive. Like, you still need to learn to fight, even though you're not doing very good. So this is what we're training you with, because last time you shot an arrow, you almost took somebody's eye out. So it's like necessity for everybody, honestly, that they were like, no ranged weapons.
That makes sense.
But it also did not help anything about her not enjoying fighting.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not allowed to be ranged because it was dangerous. So you have to learn more up-close combat. Once again, a Goliath with a glaive, and you're like, oh, I know what this character is.
A fighter Goliath with a glaive.
Yes. And then you meet her, and she's like, hey. You're like, what? And that's this character's subversion of trope, because she looks like you would expect, like, fighter, Goliath, glaive, longsword. Like, I know what this character is going to be. Personality wise, she's like, I hate everything to do with fighting. I'm very uncomfortable. Like, I just want to find peace. Like, can you just
Okay, so when she does, you're gonna have to tell me how she stops being in her environment. But when she does, like, meet other people, does she, like, introduce herself as timid?
So yes, Goliath culture actually dictates that it's more personal to give your real name than it is to give your nickname.
Oh, I see.
So her introductions to people would actually be timid.
Okay.
Which would be confusing for other cultures.
Yeah.
But for Goliaths, they understand, like, yikes. Like, that's your nickname? But in Goliath culture, like, very close friends know your real name.
Right.
But people you're just meeting on the street, people you're meeting for the first time, no. Like, you're allowed my nickname, you don't get my real name.
Okay. So, opposite of real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite, which also I find very funny. Where they're like, no, my real name's personal. My nickname is public. I don't care. Basically what is happening is, as I was saying, like, she's just not working in the clan.
Right.
By the time she hits 18, they're having another vote. She's kind of honestly been lucky this whole time. There's been older Goliaths that need to go, people who've done worse things in the clan. And because of who her parents are, they've been trying to give her a chance.
But
by the time they're like, look, she's an adult now. This is as much chance as we could give her. She never found her place. So they send the clan's term for this person is called the Lamenter. Who is the person who has the job of telling people they've been exiled.
I don't know. It's funny to me. Like, we have the specific person that is going to give you sad news. And that's what they do for us.
Yes. And it's very interesting because of how Goliaths work that most people don't wait to be voted out. They will leave before they get, like, older Goliaths will just go walk off away from the clan. Kind of like,
damn.
Yeah, like, walk off away from the clan to fight to the death or, like, so, whatever. But, like, they will not, like, be exiled. There's something almost like almost shameful about like the exile of it, like waiting until they force you to leave.
Because then it's not like your choice.
Yeah. And like because of the culture, it makes sense that they're like, no, it's more shameful to be forced to leave when I know I'm not contributing. And that's all I'm ever supposed to do for our survival, for the good of all of us. And I sat around here and waited to be told I gotta go. That's embarrassing. I would rather go off and die on my own.
Right. So
the Lamenter comes to her family's house. Honestly, nobody's really surprised to see her. Or him. I don't really care. But nobody's surprised to see them. And they're like, okay, yeah, like, we all know why I'm here. I'm not kicking out them.
We're here for True Strike.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to find out like this.
But also, because of, like, who they are, they're like, listen, I've heard of another clan somewhere out there, not in the mountains, who have actually settled and have set up a peaceful, like they're in a more peaceful place. They've set up a different type of civilization. They don't live like we do. You should try to find them. I don't know exactly where they are, but at least you have like kind of a direction rather than wandering aimlessly because you cannot stay. And obviously because her parents, this is their life, they do understand and they're upset about it, but she has to go. That's just the way this culture works. But at least she has like some sort of goal about where, like a direction, and that's how she ends up leaving. She's essentially like, well, I don't have a choice, I have to go, but maybe this is the best thing for me because I could possibly find people like me, but who are living a peaceful existence, like have set up farms, have like just a steady, stable, solid community instead of the nomadic life that Goliaths usually live. And I won't have to fight. So her story begins with her leaving, and her real goal is to find the clan that doesn't have to fight anymore. The Echo Knight part is because I wanted to make a character with anxiety. That's why she's...
So we're not doing escapism with this campaign.
No. I mean, yes, because it's like safe anxiety, you know? Like it's not me actually having a panic attack. But I wanted to explore, in a safe place, the reality of anxiety, right? And that's why she's timid. That's what it actually is. Yeah. She's anxious. She has anxiety, which obviously is not something you can just push away. You can't just force it to go away by being like, oh, we'll just put you in this job instead. It's fine. No, she's still going to get anxious.
Right.
But that's also why I picked Echo Knight as the subclass. Because I love the idea of her not having super control over the Echo. I love the idea of, and actually, when I was talking to Spidey about it, I was telling him, I kind of want it to almost be wild magic surge-ish when I play with it. Obviously, this is a choice you can have as a player or a DM, obviously, especially if you're using this as an NPC.
I did also want to remind them, like, you don't have to like have her seek out more Goliaths. Like,
she can just leave to find a peaceful existence. Period. But yes, so I wanted to almost have it roll like wild magic surge.
That's fun though.
Like I don't know if I'm gonna get I don't fully have control, and so her real journey as the class goes would be learning to actually control and utilize this to her advantage. Because when it first starts, level 3. She's not going to have control over it. Like, she's just going to get scared and it will appear.
My first panic attack.
Yes. And it's not that... I think story-wise, obviously, she wouldn't really be able to use the Echo. I am going to mention a different D&D podcast here right now because they play that before the person fully becomes an Echo Knight. With the hints in the story without the actual mechanic of the Echo Knight.
They handled it so...
And I think that's exactly how I would have it work, where it's like she's kind of seen the flash of it before when she's scared, but not super really in danger because she's practice fighting or something like that, or she's still with the clan, so even if she fucks up, somebody else is there to help her, right? By level 3, this is the first time like she's really I'm super in there. Like, this is a big issue, full panic. There's nobody here to help me. Echo Knight.
Yeah.
And that's like the full creation. Like, we've seen the hints kind of tweaking. You're not quite where you need to be for this to fully emerge.
Yeah.
This ability that you have. And then by level 3, obviously, mechanically, because you can now be Echo Knight at level 3. By at level 3, essentially story-wise, she has almost utilized it enough that she can fully functionally create the Echo Knight.
But even then, she can't control it.
Fully have control over it. Like, it's the gut reaction of her fear or her panic attack or her anxiety that she needs
manifesting help.
Yes, essentially. Ooh. And then learning to control and have more control over, like, yes, I need help. It's I can call you when I need you without being fully out of control, but still always having that option of, this is a very stressful situation. I'm going to make you roll to see if you can control not bringing out the Echo Knight because it's not really necessary in the situation, or if you lose it and you force the Echo Knight out. So even like, you could be having like a tense political situation, and the more stressed she gets, the more likely it is that the Echo Knight accidentally appears. Yeah. Which could be a lot of fun gameplay-wise. Yeah. But her story is a lot more simple. It's just, she didn't fit. She had to go. She's seeking a better place, and honestly, a better way to live in general. And the majority of her story is really about learning to control the ability she has when she's scared, and kind of learning to live with this anxiety as best she can.
That's fun. Yeah. I mean, anxiety's not fun.
No, it's super not fun. But having a character who you can walk through the story of. Yeah.
Shit, maybe it'll help you.
Find them in a better place. You know, that's nice. But I also love, once again, since we do have to bring up, I always give my characters ways you can harm them. So if you do specify she's looking for the clan of Goliath, finding out they don't actually exist.
Yeah. You know what? I like this corner of our podcast. And then how do we hurt this person?
Because I do also want to give you an option of, like, use this as an NPC who's been destroyed by life. Like, or your player decided to play this. Here's some fun ideas on how to hurt them a little bit.
Yeah. You could mess up that other Goliath. Or like you also said, just put her in like a fucking political, high social,
so much fun,
high pressure
for the entire party. Because now you all have to play with, how do we keep her from having the Echo Knight pop out? Like, we're sneaking around. We're not supposed to be at this party, and she's getting more and more anxious because she's not good at lying. This is where the low
and we have to lie.
This is where the low charisma comes in. She's not good at lying. She's uncomfortable around people. She's never been in a dress before. Like, this is all messed up for her.
She's itchy.
How do we keep this Echo Knight from appearing to defend her, quote unquote? Right? Like, we need to keep her. We cannot be spotted. This Echo Knight cannot come out because it will look like an echo of her. Like, we're just giving away if this happens. Or just, like, trying to negotiate. Yeah. Or, like I said, so for specifically what she's trying to find, like, getting out there and just realizing, like, no place is really safe. Like, you're always probably going to have to fight. And how she learns to deal with that. How she either gets over it or doesn't. Finding out the Goliaths did exist, and now they're gone.
Oh.
Or they
that
never
hurt me.
existed, and that was just an old wives' tale.
Oh. Oh, God. It all hurts. I would so use that, though.
But yeah, and she is one of those characters who I love because she is just so soft. Yeah. And so sweet. But also there is that little bit of my own personal struggle of anxiety that exists in her, and just kind of getting to, like, play with a soft little character who's dealing with anxiety and see the ways that I can help her through this story fix it. Or work with it, or learn to control it, or
manage it. Yeah.
It's also a lot of fun.
Oh my God, do we do everything?
Yeah.
Wow. I like her.
She's so good. Like,
I don't know if there's that one you're gonna come up to me with and be like, I don't fucking like this person. I don't ever want to see them in a campaign. Like, please keep this to yourself.
So that's super
but
fun.
no, I like, oh my God, the characters you've given me so far are just like, I don't know if you mean to do it, but just huge reflections of just real life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think I don't know if I will ever come up with a character for you who isn't on some level a reflection of real life.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these characters, I'm taking things that I personally have had to deal with or struggle with, and I'm kind of just writing them into a character to work through that. Like, I don't know how many people out there know this. I'm sure probably a lot of you, if you're really into and very much versed in the community of Dungeons and Dragons, but Dungeons and Dragons is a wonderful form of therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is honestly such a great, safe way if you're with the right people. I want to stress that.
Yes.
You absolutely need to be with a party that you trust, a group of people that you trust.
You got to be with people that you can communicate with and will communicate back. Like, it's got to be open.
Yes, like,
you all have to come to an understanding.
Yeah, like, I want to work through this thing, but I need you to understand there is a limit. Like, there is something you can do that will be too far. I want you to know my limits and respect them. But also, I trust each and every one of you enough that you won't ever get to that point anyway. Like, it wouldn't cross your mind, but I would like to vocalize, this is my limit.
I don't know. Speaking as a DM, maybe one day I will kill a familiar.
That is my line. And I want you to respect that.
You know what? That's fair. I've said this before to you. I will kill you before you're familiar.
I will die before my... I'm not... Like, I need you to understand how much I am not joking. I love my familiars like I love my pets. I will let you kill me before I will let you kill my familiar.
Interesting. Let me put that in my notes for next session.
But I do think, like, for me, killing animals is one of those things that I'm like, that is unnecessary. Like, you know, like, if they're, like, a random animal, like, already dead to show the carnage and, like, relentlessness and lack of remorse that, like, a group has, like, so for your current campaign, like, we're literally fighting undead. They're not going to care if a horse is alive. They're not going to care if a dog is alive. Like,
they would prefer them to be dead.
Exactly.
So that they could raise them.
Yeah. And so that, but having to actually watch an animal die, to me, is so unnecessary.
Okay. Noted.
Because I have lost a pet before.
Yeah.
I felt that, and it's just a little too, like, that is not something I feel like, there's a safe way to work through this. Like, it's this hurts.
That's super fair, and it wasn't even on my radar. So, like, this is what we mean by, like, find a group that will respect your boundaries.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I just, like, Thalai is a character that I honestly would say I don't know if I would ever play with other people because I don't know how well they would respect that.
Right.
Like, I am not, this character doesn't exist personally for me to work through, like, my anxiety and stuff. I do that all on my own, as I do. But the exploration of anxiety and the journey that you take with it is something that is personal.
Yeah.
Is something that I love the idea of being able to explore. I wouldn't want it to become a joke to somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I would like it to be like, oh, we can have these, like, kind of crazy, almost funny, intense moments, like the party. You cannot have this Echo Knight pop out at this party. Like,
right.
We are hiding from a king. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fine, but to, like, to your face from one player to another, quote-unquote character to another, make fun of the fact that, like, if Thalai was having a moment with another party member and is saying, like, I can't control it, like, sometimes I just get really scared, and then it comes out to protect me, and, like, somebody just being an asshole about that, you know what I mean? Like, that feels unnecessary, you know? And that would be something that I'm like, there are people out there who will absolutely do this because they don't care, or they use the bullshit-ass excuse of, it's what my character would do, like, which is, I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's bullshit.
Right.
Your character can be an asshole while still being respectful to the other members of your party and the other players in your group.
Super possible.
Like, this is not new.
You can have chaotic evil that will mesh with a group.
Absolutely.
Period.
This is not new information. I'm sure you've all said it. I'm sure most of you have heard it. You know for a fact you're just being a dick. Like, you have to know you're just being a dick. And then you're hiding behind, but my character...
Or if you don't know and somebody tells you you're being a dick, maybe, like, take a beat.
Take a break.
Look at the past and see maybe where they're coming from. Because
honestly, a great time to just check in with the whole table.
Yeah.
If everybody's like, yeah, you've kind of been a dick this whole time.
Maybe you've been a dick this whole time.
Like maybe take a break, step back, readjust.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be the be all end all. You can still play a character true to form and also be You're supposed to all be having fun.
That's how you win D&D, baby.
Yes. If you're the only one having fun, you're not doing it right, my dude.
Right.
You're not. D&D is a game where we all win as long as everybody's having a good time.
Exactly. What are we talking about?
Oh, we were just finishing up with the line.
Okay. But yeah, anxiety's a bitch.
Anxiety is a bitch. I hope you all are doing well.
Yes.
Take care of yourself. Love yourselves.
And I do want to point out, you said like you're managing it yourself, but you're not. And it's okay to go get help.
Oh, yeah. Oh, managing
we're
it.
We're not doing it by ourselves, gang. Yes. We have professionals.
Managing it as I do is the good way to say that, which is I talk to a therapist. I have a wonderful support system.
Yes.
If I can manage a situation by myself, and I will. But it's also okay to admit when you can.
Yes.
It's healthy.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
This, maybe somebody out there needs to hear this, just like I have needed to hear this, but it's okay to ask for help, and the people that love you are waiting for you to ask for help if you need it.
If you have good people, loving people in your life, they will always be there to help you. And I guarantee you somebody with anxiety needs to hear that.
Did you need help? Do you need help?
I am currently okay.
Alright. I too am okay, currently.
Good. Check in with your friends, guys.
Ask me after I get maybe like an hour into this drawing, and then ask me if I'm okay.
I will tell you what. I will check in as you're going.
Now I have to draw this like shadow fighter thing.
Oh, I guess that is technically the sidekick or familiar in this situation. The Echo Knight, which is really just like, honestly, just like it's just the silhouette. Like it's literally an echo of the character. So hopefully, that shouldn't be too hard for you. I
super mean to go read the actual verbiage on Echo Knight in the official writing.
It's
after
really
this.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Like I made the line because the character, the idea of an Echo Knight sounds like a lot of fun. But the idea of an Echo Knight you can't control also sounded like a lot of fun.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be a good time drawing that. Was that everything about her?
Yeah, like I said, the backstory is really simple. The character is a lot more about learning to control what she can do in the class that I gave her.
Yeah. I understand how you're apprehensive about like wanting to play this with like actual other people. Yeah, and that's fair.
It could be something that's not a lot of fun if the people don't understand and can't respect your boundaries. So that is one of the things. My biggest warning, because I do really want people to be able to play her, especially if you do need a place to like work through your anxiety, or you just kind of want to explore it a little bit or anything like that. You want like a safe place to do that. I would love to see how people enjoy kind of working through this character, working with this character to get through stuff. But I do really want to make sure that everybody's being cognizant of who they're playing with. Because you want a good group. You want respectful people. You want people who are there to have fun, and enjoy the game with you and aren't gonna be assholes. And so I guess the real takeaway is don't be assholes.
Yeah. Or if somebody in your table is being an asshole, fucking call them out. Maybe they need to hear it.
You should be having fun too.
Yes. So we have an Instagram.
So on our Instagram at Rogan Druid, you can see the speed draw and the final character art. If you want to hear me react to the character, because I have not seen yet.
Yeah, I mean, same.
You can visit our YouTube channel, Rogue and Druid Pod.
Yay.
And we will have the speed draw and the final image with me reacting as well.
Links abound.
Links everywhere. As always, love you guys.
Love you. Bye, party.
Bye,
yes.
Party.